Hello everyone, this will probably be my last video before Christmas because hopefully I can get this edited and you'll still have a couple of days. By the way, I hope you all have a great holiday season, a Merry Christmas and a wonderful New Year. Hopefully you'll be back to the channel between Christmas and the New Year. I actually have some plans to take off some work, so I'm hoping to tidy off a few videos that I have ready, but I didn't get recorded and edited up. So those will be coming there still yet. Recently, we did the MobLite 6 and the MobLite 7, just yesterday, I believe. And there's been a lot of great questions and a lot of the great discussion that we've had down there. And one of the big ones that come up time and time again, and I think I covered it, but maybe I just wasn't clear enough, or maybe it just got missed, was, why the MobLite 6 over, say, a traditional Mobula 6? This one's kind of modified, but hopefully you get what I mean. And I think both of these are really for those that want to go to the extremes of performance. Of course, I would prefer an option for 25,000 kV motors on the MobLite 7. And the MobLite 7 video, and I said this, I am flying it slower. You can notice a speed difference, but that has to do with the screw that I set in each one and the camera angle. I just didn't give myself enough camera angle in the MobLite 7. So I could change that. It's a little bit of a pain because there's only one hole in the TPU canopy. And so setting that screw is actually kind of a pain. I was trying to do it in place. You lay the mount out flat on your desk and you could probably do a better job than I did. But I was trying to get the size or get the angle just right and hold it in place, and then my screwdriver, and it's a Phillips screw, so you've got to try to drive it down through there, and of course you've got a plastic frame and it's flexing around, so I didn't get it quite right. But I think if you're going for one of these, you're looking for that extra 30 seconds of flight, maybe 50 seconds or even a minute possibly. It depends on how you fly on either one of these. This one you get a lot more than that, so you're wanting that flight time. Also, some great suggestions about how to protect these boards. I should have snipped the comments, but there have been so many comments that I've kind of lost my place there. Cork was a suggestion. I had suggested foam tape in the video. You can use those things, or really anything that's lightweight and will give you a little bit of cushioning. My concern with these boards and them being so exposed is that durability factor. We can buy new frames. These new frames are like $4 a piece or something like that. Again, I do recommend the V2 black frame. I think the black frames hold together better. I just think that. Hopefully, if you break this one up and your welder or whatever glue you decide to use doesn't hold up well, this one will. Oh, by the way, there is a linked coupon sheet down below. There's all sorts of stuff. We'll talk about a few things there. Make sure you've got Christmas covered. Maybe you're saving up for taxes, or the new year can bring in some new bills or changes to bills. So make sure you can take care of yours and your family. This is a hobby, but not necessarily a necessity. Take care of the necessities first, but there is a sheet down below with coupon codes, and hopefully those will help you save some money. One that I noticed, if you're looking for Beta FPV products, pretty much everything Beta FPV on Banggood's website is on sale right now. I think they're all 12% off. But check your prices. Sometimes 12% off doesn't mean 12% off the lowest price available. 12% off means their price 12% off. So still need to do some research. Be careful. There are also several good radios. The Radio Master series are all down there. Some stuff I obviously haven't covered, so I'm not necessarily recommending everything. We'll get into a couple of things on that sheet that I have reviewed and that I think are probably pretty good buys at this time. But that brings me back to the 65mm format, the MobLite 6. Several people were talking about this one versus just the standard Mobula 6, which this kind of is. It's my sample that I've brought out, and you can see I've changed the canopy. Hopefully you can see that. The canopy is the AE65 canopy. Here is a clear version of that. And this is a much more durable canopy, and the reason why I like it outside of the durability is you can mount different size cameras in this mount, and it holds it steady. Some of you may have seen my shark bite videos. I'm actually using this mount, and then I took a Dremel and just kind of dremeled some of it out. The weight penalty over the Mobula 6 canopy, I think, is a half gram or less. I actually, before I started recording, went to pull out one of those, but I think when I swapped over, pretty much everything I've got now has the AE65. I bought like 7 of those canopies. I think I pitched the Mobula 6 canopy out. So I can't be certain about that weight difference. That's why I'm saying it's about a half-gram penalty, because this one comes in at about 0.75 grams. So I can't imagine the Mobula 6 canopy is a quarter gram. It could be, but I have my doubts about that. But many people were asking why you'd buy this versus buying a Mobula 6. And I think again, to go back to, if you want the extremes out of this form factor, this is the one you want because it's lower weight. It has the diamond-shaped board in it. You can't buy the diamond-shaped board by itself. I didn't make a big enough deal about the Unibel motors on the original review video for the MobLite series. Those should provide more durability on our motor. And so there's a few things you can't get if you buy a Mobula 6 that are new in this product. But if you're looking at this versus a Mobula 6, I think for most people, especially, people that are just trying to have fun, do like I do, just fly around their house, have a good time, the Mobula 6 is an excellent option. And because you have a canopy, your board's protected. You don't have the extremes that you can get, but the Mob 6 does come in a 25,000 kV race edition, which can give you some extra performance, but flight time comes down a bit. So you got to balance. Of course, everybody on every video says 48 kilohertz, put 96 kilohertz on there. I know. I've done it. I don't prefer how that flies. There's a small difference in how the motors slow down, and that affects my flights. But for extra flight time, you can look into running different ESC firmware at 48 kilohertz and 96 kilohertz. And for review purposes, I don't think that's right to make that sort of change to the quad and then present it, because then that detail gets missed, and you have people who buy this quad, but they're not running 96 kilohertz, and they say, well, I don't get that flight time. Well, because it's stock. So I got to balance those things out. I don't want to be providing misinformation. So if you're choosing between these two and you're just a casual flyer, I think the Mobula 6 is a good idea. And that is on sale. $83 with the coupon code, which outside of kind of shortly after it was released, I think we saw a few prices come in at $80 for the Mobula 6. So $83 is about as close as we can get. Of course, you got to use the coupon code. Hopefully the quantities aren't limited, but I never know about these things. By the time I get this video out and recorded, certain things might not be on sale, or certain coupon codes might not work. So that's my spiel about the Mobula 6 and the Mobula 7. Unfortunately, I can't do any more tinkering with the Mob 7 Lite because I don't have enough props to fly at all smooth. I mean, two of my props, these are the clockwise props, are broken. I mean, there's pieces of the prop missing, and I don't have any spares. All my spares are counterclockwise. I can't put that on there. It wouldn't fly. It'd just freak out on the ground. I do prefer this format, and I've been asked about size and it feeling bigger. I think you can definitely tell that it's bigger because it feels more stable in the air. It doesn't feel like you have to be quite as precise as you do with the 65mm format. That's just a feeling, but I prefer this size. Of course, if your space is smaller, you might be more comfortable with something 65mm, but to give you some sort of idea of the size difference, hopefully that helps. The size difference is, I guess, in a American standard measurement here, I'd have to guess a ½ inch in each direction, or an inch total. Of course, the motor to motor distance is 65mm versus 75mm. So something to note there about the size, because that also came up as a talking point in the comment section that we were discussing. Let's take a quick look at that coupon code. If you have any other questions about this, feel free to ask me. I'm not trying to steer you one way or another, and just because we have a new board doesn't mean it's better than the other board. We still need to find out about its durability, and with it exposed like this, we'll definitely find out about its durability as these things start to get in the wild and more people come back to the video and say, oh, my board's working great and it's been 4 months and I've been thrashing it all about, versus, the opposite happening, whereas I went on 4 flights, I was outside, I hit a rock and it died. So we'll find out. I crashed it a lot. I showed you one flight footage. It must have had 10 crashes in it, but that was all inside. Of course, outside, my flights were all over grass. So very unlikely I would have one of those extreme cases of hitting a rock or a concrete surface on the board. But, time will tell about these things. Let's take a look at that coupon sheet, and we'll talk about a couple things. We already hit on them a little bit. Okay, I'm going to do the picture-in-picture thing here, just, trying something new, try to have a little bit of fun. We're all the way down here to the Happy Model section. You can see both the Mobula 6 HD as well as the Mobula 7 are both on sale. I don't recommend HD quads as far as FPV quads go for people who are new. So if you're just getting comfortable FPVing, HD isn't the way to go. Extra weight increases your inertia when it comes to crashing. You want to learn to fly first and then go for the HD. Unfortunately, that means you either buy twice or you're going to be adding HD after the fact, so you are going to have to learn and solder and how wires go and where they go what pad. But as I mentioned, this Mobula 6 with this code here is $83.38. They have several in different warehouses. Hopefully the stock is high. The Mobula 7 is still a good one. It's a 2S though, so that might not be appropriate for indoor. Depends on your space. There's some diatone stuff, some Flywoo stuff. I'm not going to really cover everything in here. You can take a look. The other one I wanted to highlight for outdoor flight is the Phantom toothpick here at $115. I don't have a good recollection of the pricing on that one, but it does seem like a reasonable price there. That's one outside that I think many people have, and I enjoy it as well. You haven't seen it come up in a giveaway, but of course it's cold out, so I'm not flying as much outside as I once did. Also the Skip HD. I've helped a few people with some Skip HD issues, and I think they're quite popular as well. Again, this is HD, so probably not your first quad, but for a 3-inch lightweight agile HD recording quad, it's pretty good. You know, I was real surprised how stable the footage was. Of course, they've got that long range, the crocodile baby, yeah. Anyway, and then I've already mentioned the Beta FPV stuff. Everything is on sale, 12% off. Again, check those prices, 12% off their price versus 12% off what the market lowest prices are. Those are two different things. The Emax 90 Nano Hawk is on sale. You get another $10 off. I think that $99.99 is a retail price pretty much everywhere, so you can save $10 if you want to go that way. Something that I've seen a few people do out there that's pretty interesting, and some ideas that many of you had was to cut the prop guards off and to see how it flew. And from what I've seen, I think Christian on Facebook, he was posting a number of flights, and he's been really enjoying it outdoor without the prop guards. I think I got that right. The Uzi 65 is a good whoop when it flies, but my problem with it is I've now killed 2 motors on it. So I'm not certain why I'm killing motors on this one versus all my other whoops. Of course, this one you have to solder the wires for the motors. It does not have connectors. And you've only got one prop choice because it's 35 millimeters, so only the stock props, and that also limits where you can get that prop. So I would be careful about buying that, and especially at that price. I'm surprised that's the price. Uzi 65, am I thinking of the wrong quad? Look at it. Oh, but then it says $85 there. Okay, so don't trust this sheet pricing here. That says $134 for that Uzi 65, but you go over here and it's $85. $85 isn't bad. I would still get the Mobula 6. I don't think there's a reason to get the Uzi 65 over the Mobula 6. The extra, it does feel different, but there are too many limiting factors with that odd-shaped board and the fact that the board's not necessarily odd-shaped. You could probably get other boards in there as well, but you have to solder the motors, and then you only have one prop choice, and I've been breaking motors, so maybe there's something up with my board. Many people are liking the iFlight Nazgul series. Those, of course, on sale. I have not flown any of those, so I can't verify that. But I've talked to a number of people who have talked about coming from that into micros, or were in micros and were looking for a 5-inch, and they were kind of asking me, and I don't really know from personal experience. So what I would do is say, you know, I hear a lot about the iFlight Nazgul. I did catch a part of Mr. Steele's video on it, and it seemed like he was not, well, he was impressed, but he wasn't as negative as I perceive him to often be with anything that's not his. Then there's some DJI stuff. We won't go into that. And some chargers. We have some radios if you're getting started, or if you're just looking at maybe starting to use the computer simulators over the winter, if it's winter for you here. And these are all good radios to use. Of course, I haven't reviewed them all. I think people tend to lean towards Radio Master. That's what I hear most about, but that doesn't mean that Jumper or Radio King are worse or anything of that nature. It's just, I think Radio Master has been really coming out on the market strong, and I think they've been doing a good job with customer support. The Max is an awful cool radio. Just looks great, but I have yet to use mine much. It's been sitting back there on the shelf. I think it's right back over here. Let me grab it. Tell me that's not a great looking radio. And then look at those leather grips. Ooh. I haven't used it much though. Then we've got that Lite, which I have yet seen. I thought it was going to be here by now, but I just haven't seen it yet. I don't recommend the FrSky. I'm not going to go into my spiel about that. I just don't recommend FrSky radios for this hobby right now, especially doing micros. We've got some parts there. Nothing really stood out to me in the part side of thing. The camera side, where it has the Caddx Vista, let's look at that one real quick. That's kind of a hot item. So this has the full-size DJI camera. So not great if you're doing micros, like a 3-incher or something like that. But that is a really good camera on that unit. Oops, clicked the wrong tab. And then we've also got the Nebula Nano. And when I reviewed the Nebula Nano, and I talked about it in this, the HGLRC Moto Whoop review video, the Nebula Nano has been updated. I did get, well, I was told, for what that's worth, from Caddx that they did update the Nebula Nano again. So that would be technically version 3 of the Nebula Nano. I thought that footage looked really respectable for such a small camera. Of course, if you want the best possible camera footage that you can get, or a camera image that you can get, you have to go back to the DJI camera. It's the best one right now. The Nebula Pro is also very good and very, very close to this. Maybe it's equal, but I'll have to leave that up to you to judge. I don't think I have the vision or sensitivity be able to tell. So those things look to be on sale as well. I have not tried the joint venture Nebula, the Caddx and eSheen one, so I can't really say anything about that. The RunCam 5, if I recall, that's the one I just reviewed, or did I? No, that's, never mind. That's a standalone camera. You can buy that. I don't know anything about it. Oh, here we go. The Nebula Pro Vita kit, as it is in here on my sheet. It should be Vista. This is with the new camera. It's $150. Let's go back to our tab to see what it says. So with the coupon, you can get it for $123. I kind of think that the price should be $123, but we don't control those things. We have to pay for what we want. So if you get a few grams savings and you get the newest camera from Caddx on a Vista, then $123. It's cheaper than what it was introduced at. Also, the Caddx Ratel is a really good camera. Let's check that one out real quick. I like it a lot. I would probably go for the 1.66 millimeter lens. I believe that's the one I reviewed on the channel. For some reason, I think we have some German in here. I think that's, well, it might not be German. I wouldn't know. I don't know any other foreign languages. $34.39. What did this say? So you get 25% off of whatever that price is. So that's a good camera. I would say the Ratel line, the Ratel 2 is the one I would go after, but I don't see it listed here. The Ratel 2 and the Toothless 2 are the two cameras that I like for analog the most when it comes to not having to worry about weight or size or mounting. So I think this video is getting a lot longer than I had planned on. Up here at goggles, the one I just looked at briefly, and one that I still use, it's actually sitting here on my desk, the front half of it here, the EV800Ds. Standard goggles that many people have used for years, and at $75, kind of hard to beat if you're getting started. They're not the most comfortable goggles, but for $75, you can't get the comfort of a $500 or $600 pair of goggles. So your budget's going to dictate how the goggles feel. But reliable, they work well. They don't have the best reception. Of course, you spend $150 for just a rapid fire module to get the best reception, or you buy one of the other top modules at $100. So just the module itself for other goggles that are much more expensive, cost more than those goggles themselves. The DMs, the EV800 DMs, I had focus problems with those. I think I was a little bit of an outlier, but those are another candidate, and they're less expensive. They have an adjustable focal length on them, so there is an advantage to those. The 300Os, I haven't tried them, and the Sky 04X, I haven't tried those either, so I can't talk about those with any sort of real-world knowledge. I did want to try the SkyZone Cobra S. I was curious about glasses wearers and if they could get their glasses inside of them, and just they seemed a little bit different, so I wanted to give those a try. But again, haven't received them yet. I don't even know if they've shipped. I think that's on the list of things to review, but I don't even have them yet. So that's a wrap up of the coupon code and some MobLite or MobLite. See, there I am again with the MobLite discussions. I think one point that I missed was about the whoops being in view. I'll edit this part out if I didn't miss it earlier. Some people like having the whoop in view, and I kind of like it, but I also kind of like the clear view of the camera. Sometimes for whatever reason, I like to see the whoops, and other times I just don't care, or I'd like to not see it. So it's something, again, you have to judge, and that's another reason why you might be looking at these, is that if you like to have just the clear view of the camera and whatever space you're flying, doing this mount at the very least, and you don't have to. They'll be, if you have a 3D printer, they'll be posting this STL file. Of course, years ago when this first started, we were using the zip ties, and I talked about that, I think, in a little bit in the video, where you'd take a zip tie, you'd kind of cut it, so you have your zip tie, and then you'd make a slit in it, and you'd push your camera lens through that, and then you would wrap it around or mount it to your frame, some similar fashion of this. That was kind of the first time. Of course, you can just glue your camera between the whoops too. That works just as well and saves weight and time. So you can get the non-whoop view without having to necessarily buy one of the MobLites. So I think that was the last talking point I had about that recent video. Again, I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas and holidays that you might be celebrating this time of year. I hope the new year brings many new fun things in FPV, and I hope we're able to kind of globally return to some form of normalcy as we move forward. You know, I don't know what that timeline is going to be. Everybody's got a prediction about it, but it's a good thing that we've got the medical sciences community globally working on this thing, so we can eradicate this virus and get back to moving about and being with the people that we love to be with, and having fun in the way we like to have fun. So I'm very hopeful, and for this year, I'm thankful for this year. I'm very hopeful for the coming years or year and how that returns. And in some ways, I've been thankful for this year as well, because we have had to slow our schedule down because a lot of things just aren't happening, especially with the kids. And we've spent more time together as a family, as kind of a family unit that I remember growing up as a kid, because you weren't running all the time. And we've established some new family regular activities. You know, we do wordplay games at the dinner table. Whoever finishes first then grabs one of the books that has the word plays, where you say, you know, I need a noun or I need an adjective, and then you fill in the little thing, and then they read it back. Or Cards Against Humanity, Cards Against Humanity, the family edition, of course. That's a fun thing we've been doing as well. We've got movie night that's established every week, and to help support some of our smaller local businesses, we've also been doing takeout every week with a family of 5, and having some of the special food needs that we have. We are limited on those restaurants we can visit, but it also tends to mean we usually have a $100 bill, so hopefully that helps them during this time as well. I've rambled on far longer than I had intended to. I appreciate your time. Coupon code down below. Check it out if you have the spare change and you're in the market for something. Maybe there's something there for you that we've already discussed. I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.